So where am I going? So, yeah, distraction. Fear. So let's get away from that fear and let's get everybody working together. And as soon as everybody gets working together, that collaboration means that we don't necessarily have that fear. Here's a picture of what I did at USwitch. What we needed to do was not worry about the design. It was about efficiently getting the design right. So whilst we're thrashing the wireframes, we're also thrashing the visual design elements, what the thing is going to look like. USwitch has recently gone live with a new homepage. This was rigorously designed in PSD. I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with the kind of the no PSD thing that my dear colleagues at ThoughtWorks talk about. Personally, I think that's nonsense. I think you've got to use the right tool for the right application. We tested all sorts of different combinations of this. We tested the use of photography, of imagery. We tested lots of different variants in the design. And then we brought it together with the front-end developers, turning it into what we might call a living prototype that the back-end developers then start slotting things into. And all the way along, we're testing. I want to produce wireframes. I love producing wireframes. But actually, do I need to produce wireframes? Again, this is another thing from USwitch. Actually, what we need to do is design beautiful, usable products. Sometimes you don't need the user experience person in the room to make this happen. This was bringing together a designer and a back-end developer together. And as soon as they did this, they threw away the old dashboard that they used to use, and now they use this. And this is a thing of beauty, and this is a thing that's used all over the business. You see this up on everybody's screen. Beautiful thing. I want to input into business analysis. I don't want the business analysis, the BAs coming up with the specification and writing all that documentation. I want to be part of that. No, actually, what I need is to prevent features trumping experience. I think this is really quite interesting. We did this an awful lot when I was at ThoughtWorks. You guys write your user stories, and in your workshops, you prioritize the user stories by business value. Business value is a really unpleasant term because other than developers, agile people, no one really knows what that means. I think what you should be doing is prioritizing your features around goals. What are the goals that the user has? Let's lay out all those key goals that we want the system to be delivering, and then let's prioritize our stories according to the importance of those goals. And you know what? That might mean you end up with what's apparently a low priority story, but it makes the cut. And the reason why it makes the cut is because it makes that goal realization a coherent thing. I think you also need to use your design to define your minimum viable products. Again, this is something from the lean startup guys, but I think I'm seeing this used more and more. Minimum viable product. I think what's really interesting here, this is a piece of functionality at USwitch. This was the design specification. This was the documentation for building a particular product. We didn't have a project manager. They don't have project managers there. We didn't have BAs. Don't need BAs there. Didn't have QAs either. It was the developer, the designer, and then the business working together. This is the specification. This articulates the flow, how a user is going to interact with the application. With this, the front-end developer is able to go and work and create a living prototype of which the back-end developer starts introducing the code. And if we can't deliver all of these bits and pieces, well, because we're working collaboratively as a team, it's easy to remove those pieces of functionality that we don't need. We didn't have any fear. We had love there. How do you know what you need? Well, frankly, last religious reference, you just got to think for yourselves. I'm going to kind of spin off on another track now, but where does UX fit? Is it a research thing? We were hearing in the BBC earlier on that they have all of those researchers in their ruts. Or is it a design thing? Do we sit in design? Are we in marketing? Or are we in IT with builds? And then how do we bring that kind of that continuous improvement cycle, bringing that back into... for me, UX is what sits in the middle. It's the glue that holds all these things together. involved in learning, it's going out, it's getting those insights, it's bringing that stuff back into design and build. And then most importantly, and I think this is something that we often forget, we've designed our wireframes, we've designed this beautiful product, it's now in production, it's business as usual. We'll move on to the next shiny thing that we're going to build. We've got to stop doing that. We've got to obsess over the things that we already have in production. We need to have things like Crazy Egg on there. We need to be observing in the analytics. We need to see what's going on and how we can continually improve the design. And this is where Agile becomes so great. When you're in a real Agile world, not this faux pseudo waterfall world, when you're able to do multiple changes every day, beautiful things can happen. Yeah, just yesterday, traders, fantastic. I was out with used car salesmen, just observing that stuff. Gold dust, and I'm coming back and evangelizing about the stuff I heard, and yeah, brilliant. Anyway, moving on. Why am I showing this? Can't remember, but expert mindset, develop. This is the old world where you have development and the expert. This is agency land, where we have the designers who are working with the business, capturing that, the requirements. I think in the new world, where we want to be moving, where we as UX people should be helping drive the teams that we work for, is here. This beautiful quadrant up there, where we lead with design. Design becomes the specification, and we bring participation and collaboration. And that beautiful place. Someone tweeted earlier on about the concentric circles. Well, this is the third time you've seen them today. At USwitch, we brought together small teams. I've already said we didn't have the QAs, the BAs, and all that nonsense, that great stuff. We had small teams that had, I don't know if you're familiar with Dan Pink. If you're not, just do a Google search for Dan Pink YouTube. It's a great, insightful TED Talk animation thing. But he talks about bringing teams and giving them autonomy, mastery, purpose. So autonomy is giving the teams the freedom to go do whatever they need to do to be successful. At USwitch, that means you use whatever language you want to work with. Mastery is you give them the tools. We shouldn't be like our dear friends, the DVA this morning, having to go through procurement just to get more A. Sorry. And purpose. We need to have purpose, set people on a clear direction. And where we were in USwitch is we had someone from marketing who was interested in how do we bring traffic to the site. We had commercial, which is how do we make money from those people that come to the site. And we had product. What's actually the stuff we're going to build? Can you guess what's going to come next? Oh, that's where user-centered design sits, design. The glue that brings all those things together. Hey, people respond to pictures. People respond to pictures far more than words. Words are slippery things. We put design in the middle. Now, this works great if you've got small teams, and one of the things I'm glad to see at AutoTrader is we're moving towards this concept of having these small teams. Gone are the days of we got the army of developers and small teams focused. But small teams are focused, but you've got lots of stuff going on in a business. So I think that when we grow, when we scale, we have these small teams all working by themselves with the designer maybe floating, coming in and out. But then you have a design authority, and if you don't like the word authority, call it a guild. That is something that sits across that keeps the design true, that keeps the design real, keeps it honest, and keeps it consistent. When I was at ThoughtWorks, every week or every 2 weeks, there's a design studio where it doesn't matter where the designers were across the business on multiple different projects, they all come back to the mothership to be able to share ideas, share learnings, share designs, and improve the designs. That's the same thing that we did at USwitch, and probably the same sort of thing we're going to be doing at AutoTrader. Sorry, guys. Where does design fit in the sprints in Agile? I think there's something about being a time-traveling team. You have the vision, the big picture. That's where we want to get to. But then on a week-by-week, sprint-by-sprint basis, we have the actual nuts and bolts of the user experience of the design of what we're building there. And so as a UX person, you're moving forward into the big picture, you're doing your research, you're learning, you're understanding, you're creating that vision, and then you're coming back and you're working on the sprint. Here, helping the developers, helping the team specify what we're doing, build what we're doing, do the usability testing once a week, as we talked earlier on, and then we go back up here and back, we're time traveling, and we're working together collaboratively. This is my enlightenment. This is kind of, you can tell I've pulled this from another slide. But this is about getting the customer, understanding what the customer need is, getting the customer need into this process of collaboration, ideation, where you have a designer, you have the business representation and the developer all working together. And they work together starting with a sketch, and that sketch soon becomes a wireframe, and that wireframe soon becomes an HTML prototype, and that prototype becomes something that's living, and that becomes code, and we ship it. And we ship it regularly, all the time, incrementally. And if we launch something that doesn't work, we fail fast, we can it. And we're getting that customer feedback from the data all the time. There's something like that. I'm on time. I'm going to leave you with a closing thought. The robin is a beautiful bird. It's on every Christmas card. Our dear friend the blue tit, scruffy old so-and-so, isn't he? So after the war, we started having milk bottles, and the milk bottles had the silver tops on the top. Don't see them anymore with Tetra Pak. The blue tit learnt to tip, tap, tap, tap on the silver, and it got the cream. The beautiful robin didn't. Can you guess where I'm going with this? The thing is, the blue tit is a very social bird. Very, very social. And it tells all its mates. It says, tweet, tweet. This is great. Tap, 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 you get the cream. And soon, through that process of collaboration, every blue tit in the country knew that if it flew away and saw a bit of silver on the top of a white bottle, tap, 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 it would get the cream. Our beautiful bird here never got the cream. I think for us to be successful, we have to be blue tits. We have to collaborate and we have to share ideas. There is no place for robins in business. Thank you very much. Before I finish, we are recruiting. Come and talk. It's a great place. Thank you.